Hello everyone. So in this particular lecture, we will try to understand the energy stored in an inductor. In previous lectures, we have understood self-induction, we have understood mutual induction. So in this particular lecture, let us try to understand the energy or how to calculate the energy stored by an inductor. All right. So inductor is basically like a solenoid. As you can see, it's a long coil which has been wrapped over a material, or rather we call it to be the core material. So this is basically the core material. Now, why we are basically interested in this energy storage, or how do we know that there will be a storage of energy? This case is quite similar to the case of capacitors. Now you know capacitors are what? Capacitors are two long plates which are used for holding charges. Now if you just connect the capacitor to a battery source, in that case what is going to happen? This plate will acquire positive charge, this plate will acquire negative charge because it is connected to the negative potential, and as a result of this there will be an energy stored in these two plates. That means electrical energy will be stored. Now, similarly, whenever you have got a long coil which is wrapped over some kind of a material and you pass on a current through it, in that case what will happen? There will be a magnetic field building up with this coil, or rather if you change the current I, then with gradual increase of time there will be a magnetic field building up, and as a consequence the magnetic energy will be stored in it. So capacitor is basically used for storing the electrical energy and inductor is used for storing the magnetic energy. All right. So when an electric circuit consisting of an inductor is closed, closed means basically suppose when we call the closed or open means suppose you have got a key connected with a circuit, some kind of a thing. Suppose this key, if you press this key such that this circuit is closed, then we call it is closing the circuit. If you press the key, it is closing the circuit. If you keep the key open, it is an open circuit, right? So I hope this part is clear to you. So when an electric circuit consisting of an inductor is closed, the back EMF opposes the growth of current. Now this is a very important term that you should understand. What is a back EMF? Now if you remember the lecture on self-induction, you remember that whenever the current through this particular coil is changing, the magnetic flux linked with the coil is also changing. As the magnetic flux linked with the coil is changing, according to Faraday's law, there will be an EMF induced in the circuit. And we all know that the EMF is induced in such a direction as so as to oppose the increase in current. Now, if it has to oppose the increase in current, the EMF should allow to flow another current, which is the induced current, in a direction opposite to the main current. Suppose the main current is flowing in this direction, the induced current will flow in a direction opposite to this, so that both of them anti each other. All right. So that is the reason why we call it to be a back EMF, because in a sense that forward EMF passes on the forward current, which is the original or the main current, and the EMF which is induced, it allows to flow a current opposite to the original current. That is why we call it to be a back EMF. All right. So the back EMF opposes the growth of current in that circuit. This is quite simple to understand if you have gone through the lecture on self-induction. The current flows against the back EMF. Now suppose you are moving somewhere and there is no opposition. In that case, you can move very easily. Suppose you are moving a ball in a road with no friction in it, or friction is less. In that case, the ball will easily move or roll down. But in this case, if you achieve or if you receive frictional forces which are very high, in that case you will face difficulty and you have to do much work in order to move that ball. All right. So that is the reason why if you have a ball which can have a rolling dynamics, and if you have a block which is sort of flat surface, then it is very easy to move the ball than the block. Why? Because the block achieves much more friction from the road, and that is why you have to do extra work in order to move that block rather than the ball. and this work is basically coming from yours energy, or you are losing energy so that you can create a work. You have to do a work in order to move that block on the road. So here also similarly, because the original current, this is basically the original current, which is getting an opposition from the induced current, say I prime. So that is why in order to flow in this circuit, this current, the original current, must do some work, isn't it? Because it is getting an opposition from the induced current. Now the current flows against the back EMF and does external work. So when the current reaches its maximum value, there is no back EMF, and thus no extra work is done. That means suppose you have connected an AC circuit basically across these two ends. Let me rub everything so that this thing screen becomes clear. Yeah, suppose if you connect an AC source over here, which is responsible for increasing the current in the circuit. In that case, when you receive AC circuit will give you current in this fashion. So forget about this part. We are concerned about this part. So one half of the cycle, the current is increasing. In the next cycle, the current will fall off to zero. So in this particular zone, when current was gradually increasing, the induced EMF was also giving a induced current in the opposite direction. But the moment it has reached its maximum and about to fall, then the EMF is zero, because EMF next time will change its direction. Okay, so whenever the current is basically falling, the EMF will change the direction and it will oppose this fall of current also. That's what is a typical characteristics of the induced EMF, that it opposes both the increase of current also and decrease of current also. But the point at which the current is maximum, at this point the induced EMF is zero. So in order to achieve from 0 to some maximum current, say I naught, the original current has to do some extra work because it was receiving an opposition from the back EMF. This extra amount of work is actually stored as the potential energy, or you can say the magnetic energy in the magnetic field, all right, of the inductor. This is quite similar that suppose I allow you to lift a block. In that case, what you are doing basically, you are doing some work against the force of gravity. All right, when you achieve it, or suppose you have lifted something and kept it on top of a table, in that case you have done work to lift a book or lift some kind of a material from ground to the top of the table. All right, and this book or the quantity which you have lifted up, that possesses the required potential energy due to gravitation. All right, so similarly here also, the current which is flowing through this circuit, the original current, it was doing an extra work in order to flow through this circuit because it was receiving an opposition from the back EMF, and in order to do so it was doing some kind of a work which was stored as the energy in the magnetic field of the coil. All right, when the current is switched off, now suppose a current has reached to I naught, the maximum current, and immediately you have discarded this circuit. So in that case, what will happen? When the current is switched off, the energy is liberated and induces an EMF that tries to maintain the current. This is quite similar that if you switch off the circuit, the original current falls off to zero. However, the induced EMF will change its direction and it will oppose that fall of current. Then it will say please do not fall. So it will change its direction, and the induced current will also flow in the direction of the original current. So that is something already we know, but this is not our concern right at this moment. For this moment we will try to understand what amount of work is to be done to reach the maximum current I naught from 0. All right, so let us suppose the current through the coil at the time of growth is increasing at the rate di dt, ampere per second of course. Then the back EMF will have a magnitude some epsilon. I have, by the way, started writing it to be epsilon because this letter is confusing, because we write to represent it as electric field, sometime as electric potential. I mean, many people designate this E, capital E letter, to many different things. So I would like to drop this letter anymore, and I would like to rather go for this epsilon kind of a sign to dictate for the EMF, right? So the back EMF is given by L di dt. You will be surprised that there is a negative sign was there, which I have dropped here, because negative sign always gives you the directionality that the original EMF actually opposes the increase in current. That is why there was a negative sign. But here I am just concerned with the magnitude of it, so I have dropped the negative sign over here. All right. So this is from the very basic of self-induction. Therefore, the work done per second, what is the work done per second? dW dt, that's equal to epsilon into the current which is being flown. All right. So actually, why I have written this? Work done in electrical sense is just the product of the potential difference multiplied by the charge. Generally, we write something like this: Q into V, where Q is the charge and V is the potential difference. But if you just go by this W upon T, then write Q upon T into V. So Q upon T is the charge per unit time, which is nothing but I into V. So basically the product of current and the potential difference is going to give you work done per unit time. So this is what is the analogy that has been followed here. So dW dt, the rate of work done with time, is equal to the EMF induced multiplied by the current. All right. So EMF is L di dt, so simply put that and I receive dW dt is equal to L I di dt. Clear? Now the work done when the current is increased from 0 to its maximum value I naught, how would you find this? In order to find this, we have to integrate this equation. The equation was dW dt, that's equal to Li di upon dt. So what I have to do, I have to just integrate this so that I get the work done when the current is achieved to its maximum value I naught from 0. So in that case, this dt may be cancelled and you remain with 0 to W, where W is the work done when the current is I naught. That's equal to integration on other side 0 to I naught Li di. So 0 to W dW is simply W is equal to L, which is a constant that comes out of integration sign, and you basically remain with something like this. So integration I di is I square upon 2. So I have written I square upon 2 with limit 0 to I naught. So if you put it in that case, you get this expression W is equal to half of L I naught square. So this work is stored as the energy in the inductor. Basically, this is the amount of work which the current has to do in order to flow against the back EMF or against the opposition provided by the back EMF. And this is the amount of energy which will be stored in the inductor. All right. So that's all I have for today in this particular lecture. So please go through it very sincerely. There are little bit of minor tricks to understand. I hope you can do that for yourself. If you have any doubts and questions, in that case, please don't hesitate to ask. All right. So thank you.